Hey, what's going on? This is Aaron Price, the CEO of TechUnited New Jersey. We all know that the future of business is digital, and we are back with Rajesh Sinha, the chairman and founder of Fulcrum Digital, to talk exactly about that issue and how all businesses now are transforming to be either tech businesses or tech-enabled businesses, and what this means for the future. Rajesh, great to see you again.
Of course, great to have me on your show and very, very happy to chat with you. You always make me comfortable and any guest comfortable on the show. So I'm looking forward to a great conversation with you.
I hope so. I think the I since the beginning, this is the first time we've done these. I always knew I had like a good digital friend with the glasses because we're always looking for like unique things. You've seen me throw some curveballs at you, and I love that you're sticking with the glasses. I'm kind of hoping that we've done LED glasses that show up. I think you may have seen those.
It will
So
be
I'm hoping one day.
mm,
I've thrown you a few surprises over the last 2 years, but maybe pretty soon like something funky will happen with the glasses. We'll see.
yeah, we'll see.
Anyway,
Hmm.
nice to see you again with your lovely garden behind you. Um, let's talk about where we've been and where we're going. So first, for the people who aren't familiar with Fulcrum Digital, can you tell people a little bit about your background in this organization so they understand kind of the foundation of some of this thinking?
Sure, sure. So thank you for this opportunity, Aaron, for chatting with me. So Fulcrum Digital has evolved over the period of last 20 years. I call it a 5.0 Fulcrum Digital. It has a journey from 1.0 evolved to 5.0. Today, Fulcrum stands as a business platform digital transformation company. We are an agent, or call us as an IT doctor. We come to the companies, we help them mature on a digital maturity journey. I think everybody is on the journey of transformation. It's all about maturing your business. And that's what we do. We help you move from level where you are to the next level and become disruptor and relevant in the market. And how we do that? We offer you our platforms to reuse into your digital journey or help you build your own platform with our experience and expertise from last 20 years with working with thousands of companies from $10 million to $10 billion companies, and we have been transforming these companies landscape. So we are the transformer, we are the IT doctor, we have that confidence, clarity, and that's what we bring on the table for the market.
For people who haven't yet invested in IT in general, I feel like you get the call sometimes when it's too late, right? So what should people be thinking about as they build their businesses with why it's so important to invest in the right infrastructure, in the right technology, in the right tools to empower their employees? Like, why is this such a critical thing, and why should they call you sooner than later?
Great question. Sooner than later, right? It's the same thing when you go to a doctor. Doctor tells you, "I wish you'd have come to me earlier," right? And many times we would have heard that. The same thing about digital journey. You need to approach it in a logical manner, and I call it's a marathon journey. It's not a sprint. So when you go for a marathon, you prepare yourself very well because it's a long haul. And if you're not well prepared, not having a digital roadmap, I think you're going to lose all your energy and you'll be out of the race. But the good news is you said where to start. Showing up on the marathon race and saying I'm ready for that day, that itself is a great start. So if people are already thinking either due to pandemic or either ways, as long as they are on the starting line that they have to be there, that's a great start, right? You are committing to it, right? So once you commit, that's when the journey begins, right? So it all starts with your mindset, which I call it a digital mindset. Once you're ready, then the magic begins. Now you start thinking, learning from experts, colleagues, and start building your manual process to digitize them. You have some digitized process, some manual process. So you start looking at your business and see what are the customer facing aspect and what are employees facing aspect, which we have to digitize first. And then once you start digitizing them, then you are digitalizing your business, then you become digitalized business, right? And that's the journey begins with a level 1, and then you have to go to level 5. In my concept, I call digital maturity moves from level 1 to level 5. Level 5 is the highest level. It is called continuous maturity model in digital. Once you reach there, You set your own bar and you break your own bar, right? There is no level 6. So there is a path which we talk of how to move where you are and where you have to go, right? You go to a mall, and in mall you always see that you are here, right? And then it directs you where you have to go, right? Same thing in a digital journey. You need to be in that mall. Somebody has to tell you in the directory where you are. Then you know how far you have to walk to go to your store, right? The same thing in the digital too. That's how the
Yeah,
journey.
that's a great point. I really like that analogy. I'm going to lean in on that a bit, right? Like, let's say um, you talked about this digital mindset,
Right.
and you and I think, see all companies as tech companies or tech companies that could be tech enabled, and some leaders in those companies are still coming around to that, and many of them accelerated by the pandemic. But how does that's sort of like when you walk into the mall, you're in the mall mindset. There are people who are operating businesses who aren't necessarily in the tech mindset. How do they figure out that where the you are here piece? How do they start thinking about how might technology transform their business? How do they get into that digital mindset?
So why don't we just pick on that topic because you like that point, mall analogy. So let's build the whole business platform like a mall, shopping mall, right? So what happens in a shopping mall? And I'll make that analogy that everyone's business is like a shopping mall. Let's call it that way. Whether you run a $10 million company or a 10 billion, you are running your business like a shopping mall. What happens in a shopping mall? You have a lot of big general stores, boutique stores, high end stores. And then in the mall, you have food court, parking spot, you have restrooms. And not every store has their own restrooms, right? They share it. Every store, they don't have their own food court, they share it, right? But then everyone has their own store to sell to their own customers. That's exactly what happens in the business. You don't want to create so many silos for each store in your business, whether it's a customer facing store for you or it's an employee facing store for you. In a simple language or in a tech business language, I call it vertical and horizontal. Horizontal systems are employees facing, vertical systems are customer facing, called vertical platforms and horizontal platforms. When you put together, you make a business platform. So that's what you do in a digital journey. You need to organize your business like a mall, and you don't let everyone create their own thing. Then it becomes like a strip mall. For a jacket or suit, you go to one place, then you drive 5 miles to go and buy food, and then drive another 5 miles to go and buy some entertainment stuff. Mall means you bring everything together for your customers. You try to share it. You reuse your investment wisely. That's why that's the analogy I could pick it up on, right?
I think that's great. So if we just stick with that analogy, I think people are generally used to we need to eat somewhere, we need bathrooms, we need some of the common infrastructure.
All right.
In tech, I think there are some business leaders who see this as kind of this wild west, and there are thousands and thousands of applications. Cybersecurity, the bigger the organization, cybersecurity becomes more and more a significant issue, and they're not quite sure what is the thing that they need, what are potential shared services, what are things that they have to have exclusive, what are things that could be interdepartmental, what needs to be custom. How do they attack some of those hard questions and figure out the right solutions?
Well, that's $1 million question which you asked. And if they can practice whatever little bit answer we can give, that will be good value add for them. So this is how it goes. In your business, what happens? You said about shared services. How do we know what to leverage and share it? Look at it in your business. You are not in a business if, say, Nike is there or Louis Vuitton is there or Gap is there in the store. They are not in the business of selling food. They are in the business of selling their products. That's what is all about your business. You are in a business to sell your products and services to your customers. You are not there to sell your HR services and your finance services to your customer, right? So anything which is horizontal, that is what the shared services means. And those has become regular services. It's all available out of the box. So instead of you spend a lot of money building those things, doesn't help. You go and buy those next generation product and let all your business departments start to use it. And there you have a choices. You can buy a small cloud version, you can buy something on premises. So based on your business interest, you can keep buying. So those are commodity, Those are shared services. Don't invest too much time planning and architecting those. Plan your business architecture and fit those commodity of shared services in your business model. Where you can invest more time is building your real business, which connects with your customers. And that's where the money comes and that's where the growth happens. So I don't know if I answered that question, but
Yeah, I know. I think that was great. I mean, so what can people expect to see from Fulcrum this year? Like, what are some of the new approaches, and where's Fulcrum as a business headed?
so we call ourselves, as I said, business platform company. And now I will add for future business intelligent platform company. So this intelligence is the future. And what does that mean is you and everybody else will talk about data and AI technology, right? And I we are thinking beyond data, beyond AI. What is beyond AI? Once everybody is all intelligent, what happens next? So now we all know Meta came in, right? So now Meta came in, how Meta going to fit in with AI? What kind of value it creates with the consumer? And don't you think while Meta has come in, there are 10 other platforms going to emerge like Meta? And what are those? Those are the experience layer in your business. So your experience is becoming intelligent now. Earlier it was data becoming intelligent. Now in any business platform, you require three things: data, process, and experience. Meta kind of world is bringing experience. AI kind of things are bringing data intelligence. And there are business processes which are going to become intelligent. And once you stitch it together, you are intelligent business. And that's what is the future. That's where Fulcrum Digital Head is right now. How do we take our current businesses and make them more intelligent end to end? Not just the data AI, but end to end, the experience layer, the process layer, the data layer. And that's what we are thinking. And the good example could be hyper personalization. That's the future. So who Aaron is and what Aaron needs, it's not only coming from data, it's coming from hyper personalization. That's beyond AI. So once you assemble everything, we become very hyperactive for you. Your pattern, my whole business will convert what Aaron is looking for instead of Aaron coming to my platform and searching for what he is interested in. So my end-to-end business platform should be profiling you and giving you everything what you need versus letting you wander around and figure out the journey. That's the future.
Yeah, I can hear you. You had asked me backstage, do I have any curveball questions for you? And I told you no, but I think I lied because I have one based on your response here. And you can punt on this question if you'd like, but there is currently a Senate bill about that is aimed at breaking up big tech, and I'm reminded that actually is being voted on tomorrow. And I'm reminded of it because you brought up this issue of AI and big data and intelligence around, sort of the efficiencies of having the data, which some of the potential byproduct if big tech gets broken up is actually the lack of connectivity of some of this big data. So I'm curious if this is where I don't know if you have any idea what I'm talking about, and you can punt if you'd like, but do you believe that big tech should be broken up?
Well, I know Aaron, so I knew that some curveball will come in, and I got to address it. So I'll address it in my way. I don't know how much I can completely answer it, but because I'm not expert from the regulator side and from the political side, I'm a business guy, so I will only answer you from the business perspective and my business stand on it. Right? I think the way business exists, all kind of company exist in the market. The market I mentioned about five level of companies. So in the tech world, there are five levels of companies, right? There are the market leaders, they are the challengers at level 4, they are the doers and executioner at level 3, emerging players at level 2, and guys who are creating it and starter at level 1, right? I feel this is the garden. We need all kind of fruits and the trees in the garden, and it coexists. If somebody has become market leader, it's challenging for them to also stay in that position to continuously innovate. Otherwise, in my book, we call it a either you disrupt or get disrupted. So if those market leaders are not a thought leader and cannot hold the position, market is going to disrupt them. Either government can disrupt them or market can disrupt them, right? But end of the day, they are disruptor, and even you break them into small pieces, they will again become the market leader tomorrow. Again, you will try to break them down, right? Which is fine. They can go through this journey, but if they're the true leader, they will follow that journey. But end of the day, you cannot stop the true disruptor in the market. Either the guy is small or the large. And the future is about those disruptors. They have to be challenged. You can challenge them by the market demand, or you can challenge them by the regulators. I think I like the democratic way of working. If you want my philosophy, I come from India. I lived in the US for 26 years, both the democratic countries, and I like democracy. And in democracy, everyone should thrive, everyone should flourish, there should be freedom. However, it has a checks and balances too, right? Every department has a checks and balances. So if there are some checks and balances which are reasonable, can be governed correctly, it's fine. But it's all depends on what are the regulatory challenges, and is it right, is it not right? That's where the policymakers comes into picture. But I like, you cannot just run too fast and you cannot run too slow. There has to be break. There are some rules, regulations. So you got to follow it, whether you are a market leader or you are the starter. So that's my
Yeah.
answer to your question. I think I am with the opinion, as long as regulators know what is good for the consumers and the trend for the future and how that can be channeled, I think those policies will fly very well.
Yeah, it's a great response. I have some concerns about, we live in this cycle of investment in early stage companies. They grow, they innovate, and often the M&A strategy is kind of the exit strategy. And if the bigger acquirers are prevented from acquiring, and that's how they innovate, does it stifle some of the innovation? But regardless, I love your perspective there. You talked about a bunch of these levels. I know you get into this. You have a book out now, the digital operating model, the future of business. Tell me more about these levels, because, and I'm hoping that we can unlock some level 6, but at the very least, help me understand how do we get to level 5?
Perfect. Read the book, right? It's a free. So the good way to explain is, Dom, you know what, last 20 years, maybe total 30 years of my experience, I have seen all types of companies, all sizes of company, all types of industries all over the world. Some struggling, some thriving, some getting the benefit out of it. And I thought it would be a great way to bring the stories of all those CEOs globally who has really used digital operating model as a channel, and they are thriving. So this book is about that, the real stories of real people, of real businesses. It's not just a tech jargon book, right? But while you get inspired by those stories, we have given a theme in this book from chapter 1 to chapter 11. And as they go through, they will realize that, okay, the book is navigating you to read these stories, understand the concept, and walk the marathon, be on the marathon journey, right? And what it is it revolves around three components of digital operating model. The first one is culture, people. Then comes the business platform. Third is innovation. And what we talk in the book is culture and people. They help you create the business platform. If the mindset is not ready, you will not have that business platform, which we talk like a shopping mall analogy, right? So you cannot create that. But if you can create a great culture and have a shopping mall like a business platform, you can be innovator. You can create a lot of innovations inside your business, right? So that's how the journey goes on. And when you go from level 1 to level 5, we guide you through the book which companies were at level 2, level 1, what they struggled with, and how they overcome became level 3, right? Culturally, what they did, what changes they made, from business platform wise, where they were and what changes they made, and innovation wise, at what stage they started to become more innovative and try to experiment inside the company. So once these three things starts working, we call it DOM in motion. So once the digital operating model is in motion, it starts taking you from level 1 to level 5. And that's what you have to create a roadmap and the journey. And this book tells you different company CEOs and their people, how they operated, what challenges and opportunity they had to move from one level to another level. So that's the whole context of the book. Yeah.
How much does the digital operating model, does it start with the CEO and leadership, the C-suite leadership, versus the company culture overall and the kinds of people that are working on some of these issues day to day?
This is the foundation of digital organization. It starts not only with the top layer, and this very well we have covered in many examples in the book in chapter, I think 5 or 6, where we clearly call it out that top level buying vision is very important, but it is a top guys and the frontline worker, because digital is all about experience to your customers, and your frontline workers are connecting with your customers, and they are bringing a lot of ideas and challenges inside your company. So as long as you have an opportunity to bring their ideas inside your business, and top management have an ability to listen to them, both are required, the front line and the top line. Once they get aligned, that's when the magic happens. If you just the top line guy and you just try to build something and market does not accept it, what happens to digital? Doesn't get accepted. So that's where the journey starts, and that's where the culture plays an important role. Because if you are a company which is a hierarchical driven and top down approach, you are not ready for digital. You need to be more agile. You need to be top down. You need to be bottom up, and you have to have ideas flowing across the company as a transparent company, open culture. And that's when you can capture all the ideas, feedback. You can analyze how many touch points your customers have with your business. People will speak freely. They will say, oh, my customers have 10 touch points. That's not a great experience. Can you reduce it to 3 or 5 touch points through digital platform? Now we are talking sense together. Now the top line guys will invest into it, they will commit to it, and frontline guys will also enjoy the outcome of this journey, right? So it's all about three things: commit, collaborate, and communicate. So
How,
once, hmm?
I was going to say, I think at the end of the day, especially some of the frontline workers are concerned about, can they take some of these big chances, make mistakes, and not lose their job? Because often, right, innovating, creating new things requires many steps, and maybe you get the first 9 right, and the 10th one is where you get it. The first 9 wrong, and the 10th one is where you get it right. So, how do management think about, or how do these companies think about creating an environment where it's safe to fail, and people don't feel like, well, I don't want to take these huge swings because I might get it wrong and it costs the company a bunch of time and money. How do you make it where that's okay?
Seems like somebody gave you my manuscript to read, because it's all covered in the manuscript and the book. Because that's a fundamental aspect of the culture. It's a risk taking and trust oriented culture, right? That's the digital culture. And what happens is, as long as business continues to take a risk and they fail, and top management tells them that, hey, that's an experience for us, let's move on. The failure is considered experience. That's a supportive culture to bring in new ideas. If
Yeah.
failure is considered a firing approach, that's an autocratic approach. That's not digitally savvy company. So as long as you encourage people to take initiatives, and it doesn't have to be on a technology side or a product side, it could be as simple as process innovation. You are doing process old ways. I gave one example in the book saying, you used to validate somebody user on your platform with a void check. Now who uses void check? You have so many payment platform. Kill that process, it's obsolete. So there are so many processes in the legacy businesses which you follow is obsolete today. So bring some change management leaders inside the company, and they will look at the old processes and they will change the process, map the new process in the system. You are digitally savvy too, right? It doesn't have to be new gadgets or new tools getting added on your platform and then you look cool in front of the market. Innovation is not always about that. There was a Chanakya, he's an Indian philosopher. He said one time, and it is all over internet, you can read it. He said, innovation is all about when you want to eat a hot food, you don't eat from the center of the plate. You will burn your finger and mouth. You eat it on the periphery and the outer surface of the plate slowly, and that's the way to do innovation. You just don't come and try to disrupt the whole core business DNA. That's not the way to do innovation. There are a lot of things on the surface. You can try it out, and employees have freedom to do it as long as you encourage them, inspire them, and you have guts and ability to take their failure as an experience. Magic will happen, and that
What's
requires.
I mentioned that I was on a panel this morning. We were talking to a variety of schools around the region about the workforce of the future. What kinds of skills would you encourage people entering the workforce, or even hirers, to train people on, that you think continue to develop a workforce of the future that lends itself to this kind of digital operating model?
Great. So they have to have technical skills and soft skills. It's a combination, it's a holistic approach of developing a person, right? Subjective skills, which is required on the job, and soft skills, which requires them to thrive and in the environment. But fundamental for future of work is, don't bother about, if you want to become a programmer, don't bother about writing programming line by line. The world is going to be different. You need to think like a bigger picture, like elephant. You don't focus on building a leg of an elephant. Understand what's the big picture of any business, right? In software language, I'll tell you, if somebody wants to join us, fair enough, we want data architect, data programmers, Microsoft programmers, Java programmers, but we tell them, don't have a mindset of writing line by line code. Think of writing the whole wall, building the whole ready-made kitchen, trying to bring the kitchen and stitch it into your platform rather than building the wall brick by brick. That's not the technology for today. That's obsolete. So as long, because the time is running out, people have need a speed, and the only way you can deliver in this race with the speed is when you bring those ready-made components. And in this cloud world, the meta world, in the hyper personalization world, you don't have a time to write anything and experiment from scratch. So leverage it. I call it a philosophy of explore, exploit, and disrupt. So any language you learn, you should try to explore it into your new job, exploit it. People may not know 30-40% of the stuff what is required. As long as they have a good aptitude and attitude, they can create a magic in your company. That is very tough to learn, attitude and aptitude. Passion, personality, that you don't get it in one day. So when we recruit, we look for, on x-axis we put education, skills, experience. On y-axis we put passion, personality, attitude. By time everybody will get education, by time everybody will get experience and skills, but by time you don't become a good attitude person, good personality and passion. So you, today's world, you need a people who are passionate about their career. They are driven by purpose, because tomorrow's business is not about profit, it's about purpose. So as long as employees are driven by purpose, aligned with the company vision, they are passionate, you can teach them all kind of skills.
Yeah, I love that. I also love the idea of explore, exploit, and disrupt. I think that's sort of the theme of what this community is all about. So people can learn more, can check out the book at techunited.co/DOM for digital operating model. Congratulations on the new book. Very excited for that to be out. They can pre-order it now at the website that's scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. Rajesh, it's always great to sit down with you and your, whatever glasses, whatever foliage you got going on. I always enjoy the conversation. We like to end on the high five. So on the count of three, you got to give it to me. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Good to see you. Be well. Happy New Year. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.